Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready.
Y'all are just really that miserable, huh? This girl was announced as the Little Mermaid back in the summer of 2019. That was almost 4 years ago. We have gone through a global pandemic, a whole new presidency. We have literally gone through into the new decade. And y'all are still mad? Over 648K y'all are mad that this Little Mermaid is black. Y'all know mermaids aren't real, right? No one is forcing you to go see this movie. Is it that upsetting to you that little black and brown girls are going to have representation that they probably have never seen before in media? Is it gonna hurt that you're gonna have to share a childhood memory with somebody else that probably didn't see themselves in movies or TV before? I already know you're still gonna go see this movie because you want to be like, oh, well, I saw it and it wasn't up to par. Because you can't say, oh, this movie's terrible and you haven't seen it. You look dumb. And even if you do see it and you still act like an ass, you're still going to look dumb. Because at the end of the day, you're still giving Disney your money. And I suggest you probably hide out of your house for the weekend and stay off social media because we are going to celebrate this moment. The same way we did Black Panther and the same way we did Wakanda Forever. Because, baby, we in this hoe.
Fuck this. I'm boycotting Disney.
Why?
Because they're casting the Little Mermaid as black.
And that's a problem because...
Dude, think about the science.
The science?
Yeah.
Of mythical mermaids and Jamaican crabs.
Exactly. I mean, when you say it like that, it makes me sound like a complete idiot. Whatever. You don't get it. How can the Little Mermaid be black when she's at the bottom of the ocean?
The same way a humanoid octopus can steal people's voices. Magic!
Whatever. They only hired her to force diversity. They should have done it based on talent and skill.
Talent and skill? You know she has 36 Grammys, right?
Yeah, but she's also been acting for nearly a decade now. What about preserving her character? Like, what if we made Black Panther white?
Really? A white king in an African country that's never had any interaction with the outside world? Now that wouldn't be scientific, would it?
Don't do that. Don't you dare use my logic better than me!
Also, unlike Black Panther, zero part of Ariel's story involves her race. So if she sings the same, acts the same, and does the story the same, what exactly isn't being preserved?
The master race!
What did you just say?
Nothing. Nah, don't back out now. In fact, I got a little gift for you. Come here.
Dude, I didn't mean it.
Nah! I want to see the master race in action.
Come on, man. My best friend's black. Cut me a break.
Yeah, I can break your legs. Now come here.
I was 6 years old when the first Little Mermaid came out. And I was a bullied little pasty, redheaded, singing little girl. When that movie came out, I felt like I could conquer the world. Like I legit had been bullied, called Copperhead and called Carrot Top and made fun of for the color of my hair and how white my skin was. And now I felt like I could do anything. And because of that movie, I got on stage and I sang for the first time. Why are we trying to rob little black girls of that same feeling? I want those little girls to watch this movie and see that beautiful black mermaid and know that they can do anything they set their minds to. Why are we trying to rob them of that? And where? Where do these 40-year-old white people find the time and the energy? Please tell me where. I could use some time and some energy to be offended about something so stupid. Like, where do you find the time and the energy? I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast. I don't have the time and the energy to think. I don't get it. And the audacity that please tell me where are you finding this audacity? Where are you pulling this? Is there some hidden treasure of audacity that you're pulling from? Like what? Somebody help me understand where this audacity is coming from. And to my fellow Christians, I don't even like to say fellow because I'm not like you in this way, who are getting on here and talking about what a shame it is and how upset they are that the Little Mermaid is black. Meanwhile, you're watching The Passion of the Christ over and over like it's the greatest movie ever known to man, but Jesus is portrayed as a white man in that movie, and that is not historically correct. So you are over here up in arms about a fictional mermaid story, okay? A fictional mermaid story. You are upset because the mermaid isn't the right color. Meanwhile, you're over here okay with Jesus being portrayed as a white man when he wasn't white. What are you gonna do when you get to heaven and Jesus isn't white with blue eyes? You gonna go get that treasure box of audacity again? What you gonna do? Okay, love you, bye.
It totally could be argued that it's racist because if someone just so happened to make Moana white, that'd be racist. So Moana is Polynesian. Distinct heritage, distinct culture, and you're right. That should not be placed in the role of a white person or white character. Now, the Little Mermaid, I hate to break this to you, but she's made up. She's an aquatic creature from folklore that does not have a distinct culture or heritage. She is a fish who lives in the sea among other fish of all shapes and colors. Now, this argument is from the same people who changed Jesus's tone of his skin, because guess what? Jesus ain't white. Now, that would take proper knowledge of geography and all of that stuff, but we won't go into that. This means that all these years you've been on your knees begging for forgiveness to a brown man. But you guys are okay with that. You're okay with making Jesus white, but God forbid a fish. There is no logic. It's racism buried deep.
So one thing that's been super frustrating about the intense criticisms of The Little Mermaid is that a lot of these criticisms are coming from people who don't even know the lore. Or they're coming from people who didn't even like the cartoon as a kid. Like, you're telling me all these straight men are up in arms about The Little Mermaid. I am willing to bet good money none of them even liked it as a kid. And were like, no, I'm not watching the dumb mermaid princess movie. That's gay. It's for girls. So, you know, new rule. If you didn't even like The Little Mermaid as a kid, you do not get to criticize it now. If you didn't know that there were 2 Little Mermaid sequels and a prequel show and a Broadway production, you don't get to speak on it. I am just so tired. But I do want to address some of the criticisms. To assure you guys that people who have loved The Little Mermaid since they were a toddler like the movie and are okay with all the changes that have been made that we've seen so far. For starters, with Ariel's sisters, all of their names and their looks are different. Nobody has a problem with this. The original names were, cute, they had their moment. But, they're not really characters in the story. They don't get that much screen time. The only time they get any sort of focus is in Ariel's Beginning, which is the 3rd movie, and kind of the Broadway production, where they get a song. Hoping that song crosses over. I really would love to see She's in Love. But for reference, these are the new names: Tamika, Mala, Karina, Perla, Indira, and Caspia. And I'll have you know that this isn't even the first time that changes have been made to the Little Mermaid sisters. The movie Ariel's Beginning sort of goes against the grain with establishing their birth order. Because according to that movie, the firstborn is Atina, when according to the first movie, it's heavily implied that Aquata was the firstborn. I'll put lists up there for comparison so you can see the birth order change. So, it's not like the sisters have really been that prevalent to the story, so this change isn't that big of a deal. In fact, to me, I kind of like these looks better. I like the unique names a little bit better because these mermaids are just all out. They look beautiful. They look gorgeous. Next, I want to talk about Flounder because people are mad that he looks different. When again, I assure you, it's not that big of a deal. He looks like a fish that you would find underwater. He's got the stripes, the yellow, and even the funny, tuft of fin. It really does not look that different. The craziest thing is people were like, he should be fat. What a bizarre thing to say about a fish. And then people were complaining that her holding his fins looked like animal cruelty. Be so for real. Be so serious right now. So just again, I assure you it's fine to like the realistic looking fish. He looks adorable in the trailers, so... Honest to God, there is not a single complaint that I've seen about this movie that hasn't been utterly ridiculous. So when you see this movie and see how amazing it is, you're like, wow, I'm so glad it didn't listen to nitpicking criticisms that were piled on by racists. This movie's gonna eat. I don't know what to tell you.
So unless you live under a rock, you know that Disney is releasing this live Little Mermaid, right? And instead of traditional Ariel, we now have a black woman with locks. Well, the people that match the color of my wall are very upset. Basically being downright racist, and I'm finna expose one. Hi Kevin, you're live. What the hell is this? Little Mermaid 2023. Ariel has ghetto, non-straight, carrot top colored hair, and also appeasing again to remove another color from movies from the original. This is not Ariel, this is Ariel-Lisha. Is King Triton gonna be King Tyrone? I think we should make a movie and change Kuta Kinte to look like John Smith and rewrite that story. I literally cannot believe they are still doing this to original movies and changing the color to appease another. What do they want? To keep TVs from being stolen and doing riots? And it isn't racist to point out another race as being wiped from societal view. I'm not finna read the rest of that, but I'm gonna just say this. You're mad because Ariel's black. Tell me that you're racist without saying that you're racist. Like, am I tripping?
I'm outraged, y'all. They've done it again. This woke movie industry changing out a white character that lives in the city for a non-white character. I am, of course, talking about Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I mean, look, Aquaman is clearly a white, blonde-haired dude. Not this dude. Hello? Oh, you don't remember anyone being upset by this? Wonder why. Wonder why people are upset about The Little Mermaid being a black woman. It's almost as if these racist, white, Christian, crazy mothers that are in these, like, Moms for Little Mermaid purity or whatever groups on Facebook are so thirsty for Jason Momoa that they forgot to be racist. But cast the little black girl in The Little Mermaid, they're going to come for you. These racist people are insane.
Okay, so I'm gonna err on the side of you're probably just joking, like you probably don't mean this seriously. But, you know, let's talk about this. Because you remember how I said, like, a few videos back, people talking about The Little Mermaid and aspects of it without really knowing the lore and, you know, about all the different factors that went into it. Because The Little Mermaid Broadway production has always been a colorblind cast. Ariel, Triton, and the sisters are often whatever ethnicity, all kinds of ethnicities across the board. And that is reflected in this live-action telling of The Little Mermaid. And it's not really something that people struggle with, you know, in the Broadway production. Because, again, it's not really relevant to the plot. Maybe there will be an explanation and maybe there won't be. Either way, it's fine. Because let's also think about what you're saying. There's no way Athena birthed all those ethnicities. For those of you who don't know, Athena is Ariel's mother. That's the name of Ariel's mother. But Ariel's mother and her sisters and herself are all mermaids who have scales. So, you know, there's a possibility, if we're getting real technical into speculative biology about merpeople, that the mermaids were not birthed at all. It is a real possibility that you might have to contend with that these mermaids hatched from eggs. Am I saying that's what happened? No. I'm just hoping to point out the ridiculousness of speculating about the, you know, biological birth cycles of fictional creatures. Because we can even take this a step further, because all of their tails are also different, which would suggest they could even be different species of mermaids. Their designs are very specific and seem to take inspiration from different kinds of fish. But maybe it will be explained that because, you know, they're fictional mermaids, that intense, you know, color variation can occur in their tails and in their skin tones. But again, this is all purely speculative because, you know, Ariel has a belly button, which would imply an umbilical cord, which would imply being birthed. So we just don't know. And one final thing, regardless of the life and birth cycles of the Disney mermaids, I think it's really awesome that they gave each of the mermaids a different ethnicity, each of Ariel's sisters a different ethnicity. Like, to really say that mermaids are for everybody. Indira or Indira, I think, is Indian. Perla is Spanish Colombian, you know, etc. It just was nice to see all of the sisters kind of represent all kinds and all types of different little girls. So I, for one, don't much mind if they're all biologically related, if they aren't, if mermaids can just be like that. Whatever is explained or not explained, I just don't care because it's fine as it is. And it's just great overall. So yeah, the end.
I don't know how people can look at the live-action Little Mermaid and their biggest problem is Ariel. Halle Bailey looks fucking stunning, y'all are just racists. But have you seen the animals? This is Sebastian! And this is Flounder! And you're telling me this is your problem? She looks fucking ethereal. She looks stunning, she's gorgeous. How is this your problem? Why this exists?
That Disney only did that because of race. Now, if they had done it because of her actual talent, her voice, and her acting skills,
Honestly, I think we could save so much time if some of y'all just admit that you're racist, because y'all are making stuff up at this point. But let's go on. Let's hear more of her explanations.
casting anybody but a white redhead with blue eyes bothers me so much. The Little Mermaid was the first movie I watched. The first Disney movie I watched.
Honey, I'm here to tell you we don't care. We don't care about your nostalgia. Y'all covering up your racism in the form of nostalgia, and it's done.
So basically, long story short, is we went to the theaters and there was a commercial, and it was like an oceany, really pretty movie, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. It was like a cartoon though, not like the live action Little Mermaid or anything like that, which I'm pretty excited for that too, but I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, the point is, this commercial came on, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great movie, blah, blah, blah. And they just start, like, this mermaid shows up, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's a fucking mermaid. But then everybody's just like trash talking the mermaids, and they're like, mermaids are nothing but selfish, evil, narcissistic fish. And like the whole movie was like how everyone thought mermaids were like perfect, sweet, nice things, but really they're like evil. And like it just, I don't know how it ends, but it really framed the mermaids to be like evil. And I was like, what the hell? Then I put my personal anger aside about this, oops, sorry, and realized, there's a lot of controversy about there being a black Little Mermaid, and now, before that movie even hits the theaters, they're making a new movie to follow up after that one about how mermaids are evil. How bizarre is that? So I just had to share that with somebody, because I'm like, there's no way in freaking hell that's a coincidence. Somebody out there is like, okay, you want to make Ariel black? We're going to make a movie then that shows how shitty and terrible mermaids are so that kids don't like mermaids anymore. This is not a coincidence. Crazy. I'm like, I should put this shit on TikTok because that's crazy.